All right, so I got to ask you, you're going to open the season against my Eagles down in Brazil, man. What are you most excited about?
They said that the part of Brazil we going to, you can't even wear green at.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah, bro.
Why?
They said like I guess something to do with the gangs and stuff. They said,
Oh, dude, I'm not
Eagles,
going.
hey,
I'm not going.
Eagles
hey,
fans.
they said we not going to Rio. We going
No.
to. They said they told us they was like, man, it's one of them places where they probably won't even let us leave.
A full team.
Oh, damn, I'm not
Two full
going,
teams.
dude. All right, we got a running back here today. Running back just got paid, man.
Yeah.
And a change of scenery for Josh Jacobs, one of the hardest running backs in the league, a throwback in my eyes. Welcome to the show, dude. How you feeling?
Feel pretty good, man. Can't complain. It's been fun so far. Can't really complain.
What's up with the big change, like Vegas to Appleton? Like what do we make of it so far? What are the pros and cons of playing in Vegas?
Yeah,
And then what do you see so far in Green Bay? I'm just talking about the city.
I would say the biggest thing that I noticed that's different is everything closed early as hell out here.
Oh,
Like it closed at like 8 o'clock. You be like, you can't really get no food after 8. You be like, damn. But that's the biggest thing. I think it's very like peaceful too out here though. I like that. I think that's the best thing really to me that being out here is just how quiet it is, how friendly it is too. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people really say.
Is the DoorDash situation kind of suspect?
Bruh, yeah, bro. Like I said, like if it get late, you be better off. You better get up. You better get up and move
that's the
around.
worst.
You got to have some
Nah.
stuff in the freezer.
But let me ask you this: just moving from Vegas to out there, Wisconsin, do you worry about how you're going to be able to get your hair done out there?
You know what's funny is that's something I thought about. So my hair lady actually she stays in LA, so she flies out every 2 weeks.
Oh,
There
okay,
we go.
So
nice.
yeah, so she just came out here like a couple days ago.
Oh,
Look
that's
at that.
funny. That's so funny.
Literally.
Do you have like down in Tuscaloosa it got cold, but what was the
Mhm.
coldest game you played in the SEC, and have you played in a game that was pretty cold in the pros yet?
Not yeah, in the pros, coldest game I've ever played in, I think it was in Cleveland. We got every weather that day. We got rain, sleet, and snow all in one day.
Yeah.
So that was probably like the craziest, like coldest game. High
Yeah.
school, I played in some cold games, but besides that, man, not too many.
Do you feel like when it gets cold, it's advantage you because people don't want to tackle?
Exactly. For
Exactly.
offensive players, it's smooth. I tell people all the time, like you don't really be cold until halftime. You know, you come
Mhm.
out wet. If you don't change, you come out wet, you be cold. But like during the
Mhm.
game, you be pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, man, I know we play in a lot of cold games, and I mean, to me, I look at it as a bright side because obviously, you know, it just make defenders not want to hit you for real.
Have you
That's the
thought
truth.
have you thought about if you're gonna be a no sleeve or sleeve guy when it gets really cold out there?
Man, I think it just depend on my mood that day.
Yeah.
It really do. Cause like I'm the type of dude that sometimes I wear long sleeves in the heat. So like it just kind of depends on,
Yeah.
on what I'm feeling.
Yeah, but is it hard to keep the ball tucked when you got that sleeve? Like, is that something you guys have to worry about?
Not really. Not if that's how you practice and you get used to like practicing like that, then not really. But I think if it's something like if you go wear a sleeve or anything, if you just try to do it that day, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, but it does look good sometimes to
Yeah.
throw the sleeves on. It makes you feel
Swaggy.
faster, dude.
For sure.
It do.
For me, that was a big help. And I like the cold too because I felt like it slowed the fast guys down. It made me the same speed as everybody. So, what was it football wise? You know, because like obviously replacing Aaron Jones, I don't like saying replacing because you guys are different players, and obviously you're a great player in your own right. But his style of play is one way, yours is a little bit different. What did you
Yeah.
see when you were evaluating Green Bay, and was it close with any other organization?
Yeah, man. When I was evaluating, I was just seeing that, like, obviously this is a really good team, and that was the main thing. When I watched film, like, 10, Jordan, he's very special. I think he's going to be the next, guy in this league from a quarterback standpoint. So I was excited to play with him, and then to come in and see all these young receivers that we have, and just see the way that they go about business, on a day to day. It made me kind of excited, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like to have a line that's kind of been together and for a minute, and to be able to run behind them guys, and they're very, you know, vocal and things like that. Like you could tell they got a little bit of dog in them. It's gonna be fun, man. I told them it's gonna be a fun year.
I think it's also probably exciting because you're going to really open up some of the play action game in different ways.
Yeah, and I was telling them that I'm like, man, it's gonna be fun because you don't know what to guard. Like defense is gonna have problems. Like whatever, and if you decide to stop the run, the pass gonna be there. You decide to stop the pass, the run gonna be there. So it's gonna be like you're gonna have to pick which one you want.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a first in my career.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you probably as used to loaded boxes as anybody in the league. Like,
Man,
was there a game that you remember where you're like, this isn't fair? Like, it's a 9-man
there
box.
was a lot of them like that. There was a lot of them like that. I've been to the game. I'm like, man, like I think besides like if it's a stat that I had read before the year had started. It was like besides Derrick Henry, I faced the most loaded boxes than any other running back in the league. So like that's why I'm kind of excited about this year because I'm like, hopefully it ain't gonna be that way.
Yeah, exactly. What's the key to running into a loaded box? Is it angles or is it getting on the edge? Like what is it when you come into a game and you're game planning? You know they're going to have 8 in the box.
I think the biggest thing is one or maybe 2 guys can't be blocked. So it's one of them where like, okay, if you see it, you got to hit it, and then you got to expect somebody to be there, and you got to expect to give him something, you know, and freeze his feet a little bit, and to be able to get busy from there. But that's the biggest thing with the loaded box is just like your escape routes change. You know, when the box is lighter, you know, like okay, if I'm running right, I know I can cut back here, I can keep it on, or I can bounce it out. And when you got a loaded box, it limits your options.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. In short yardage, you're a running back that seems to be able to put his head down and get those extra yards. How hard is it to navigate what is a penalty and what is not a penalty, a finable offense for you in your case when you're a running back and you're trying to get extra yards?
Man, this is a great question because I got hit with like 3 of these last year, right? So literally, like, that's what I had the question. I'm like, man, look, how do I know if it's 2 against 1? I'm not gonna run straight up. I mean, that's just kind of dumb. And if I got to get, you know, a yard, I'm gonna get the yard. I was asking them the same thing, like, what do you want me to do? Literally, and they only answer was, well, you just got to keep your head out of it. So what I've been trying to, literally in situations where you can't, like literally. But what I try to do is I pick a guy and I try to pick a side.
Yeah. Okay.
So like if I'm gonna take on half of you, or if I'm gonna go low, which you don't really want to do, but you know, like with today's day, like the way the game is played, you kind of got to, you know. So it's gonna be one or the other for sure.
I feel like that is like picking a side, just like tacklers. Like ideally, we could pick a side, but there'd be times where you're running in full speed and it's traffic, man. Like, and I feel for dude from the Texans got a bunch of those last year. He's a thumper.
Perryman.
Oh, Perryman. That dude is an absolute thumper. And I think sometimes, like when he got fined in the Indy game, I'm like looking at it and I'm saying, what do you want him to do? You know, because it's the same thing. And I'm sure you probably feel for the defenders too.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like for his situation, he's on the like, if he get fined for that again, he's missing games.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not even like, okay, you getting fined and you getting fined, like you missing games. So it's weird, bro, because it's like, how do you teach somebody to not tackle how they was taught to tackle for years?
Yeah.
Like you want them just to adapt, and like basically for real for the defenders is damn near get ran over. Like literally they want you to catch at this point. Like you know, but like I feel like I'm one of the only few running backs that actually get called for that in the league. But it is
when you got those envelopes those weeks, how surprised were you?
A couple of them, as soon as I got in the meeting with them, they was like, we watched this. This is nothing. We're gonna throw them out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was only one that I actually got that I was like, but it was still kind of like ticky tack, because it's like if I'm tripping and I'm falling, my head is going to be the first thing going forward.
Yeah.
So if I connect with somebody, it's like I can't control that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like one of them situations, but it is what it is.
Totally, especially now that you got the money where you could just
but no, don't take my money.
I think I'm gonna put my head down a little bit. Is there another position group you're the most excited about walking into Green Bay, like offense or defense, where you just want to see those guys perform? I love their D-line. I love the wideouts. Like, has
Yeah.
any one group stood out to you?
I mean, obviously, just watching RG practice every day, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see him in the game. And
Yeah.
KC, just watching them in practice, and actually playing against them too. Just being able to see that on in a week to week basis, I think I'm very interested in. And coming in with Keyshawn and playing at Bama with Xavier, them are
Yeah.
guys that I'm looking at too. So a lot of the guys that I kind of already know, but seeing them come along and develop a lot along the way, I'm definitely looking forward to watching them play.
Rashawn Gary's, when he's on, he's as good as anybody. I mean, that dude is he's a fucking rolling ball of butcher knives.
Nah, and
Like
he
that
bring that
dude,
every day too.
he
And
just,
that's what
yeah,
I
it's
like.
straight line power, and he's got stuff off of it. Who's a D line that you think affects the line of scrimmage in a way that you remember it, and whether it was in the AFC West or playing other D lines where you're like, these guys reset the line of scrimmage and make it hard for us to get our plays off?
I mean, going against KC, definitely Chris Jones for sure. Like, but see, the thing about Chris Jones is like when he's playing, like when he in his mind that he want to play, like he's a dog. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
he's a difference maker on the field. I mean, you see guys like Dexter Lawrence and Quentin Williams.
Yeah.
Like them are guys where you be like, okay, you got to take a double team, and even then they kind of still split the double team. You like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
them are guys that I definitely could say like going against was a little matchup.
Do you prefer? I know you had the fullback some and some without the full. Do you prefer running behind a fullback, or how does that change your style of play, or does it change because of the way you can move tight ends now? It's all the same.
Yeah, to me, it's not big of a difference. I do think that fullback should be used in this game. I don't think that it's something that they should be completely just out of the game of football.
Yeah.
But to me, it don't really make that big of a difference. I know it's definitely different depending on who I know is in front of me. Because
Right.
like if I got a fullback in front of me that I know he's gonna be exactly where he need to be and he gonna get that block, then it's like okay, I'm gonna be comfortable running behind him.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate to have that in two different fullbacks. And one of them, the highest paid fullback right now, is Alec Ingold, and then the one I had last year was Jakob Johnson. They both was like thumpers. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
fun to run behind them.
Yeah. They're throwbacks. That was a big change when Antonio came on, and you guys, I think, went less like traditional stuff, like
Yep.
less like 21 maybe or whatever it was, and changed the style of play a little bit more. I know you're not in Vegas anymore, but what did you see with the way that offense changed, and did you like the way it changed?
Yeah, I think it was, they kind of got to get the say so. Josh wasn't running the offense, so they kind of got to. I feel like what they were more comfortable calling. So that's kind of just how it was. But for me, man, in that offense, I definitely like the fullback a lot better in that
Yeah.
offense.
Yeah. Did you feel like as a back, when you come in a given week, as a D line, we would say, hey, we like these games. We don't want to run games this week. We just want to beat our guys, like that sort of thing. Or we run. Do you have input as a back week to week on what you like, and how do you arrive at that conclusion where you're like, oh, it's these 5 concepts?
Yeah.
Is it from film study or just how you're feeling or how the group's showing?
Yeah. So really, every year I've been in the league since probably like midway through my rookie year, they
Yeah.
gave me input on the runs. So like I have my list every week, and by Friday I had to turn in my list of like
Yeah.
my favorite runs are top 5 or whatever for each like situation. So it could be red zone, it could be 1st and 10 or whatever. And for me, it goes off of film first because I will go through the runs first, like how are my one-on-ones with the backers, what do the D linemen do on outside zone and things like that. And then they go off of practice because we'll see some stuff that, on film the other teams run that was really good, but in practice it just never felt right, or we never could like completely get it done the way that I watched it, and so we'll throw it out. So I've always kind of had that voice to be able to do that.
Is there a backer that you're like, yeah, that's the best space tackler in the league.
The best in football right now is Fred for sure.
Mm.
Fred Warner for sure. He the best linebacker in football right now.
That dude's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's about as big as us.
Now he's huge too.
Bro,
He moving at
He
that.
runs
He moving at that.
sideline to sideline.
Hell
He's
yeah, dude.
covering that field.
I like Milano a lot too. I always talk about Matt Milano.
I like Milano. I like Baltimore.
Roquan.
I like Roquan too. But
Yep.
Fred definitely got it for me.
Hell yeah, dude. Who are the best running backs in the league? I know sometimes you come on these shows and people are like, all right, give me a top 5, but I'm going to do it. Give me a top 5.
Yeah.
Give me your top 5 running backs in the game.
I would say my favorite running back is Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
He's my favorite just because he does everything I feel like at a high level. And I feel like he don't even get as much credit as he should for, making his offensive line look good,
Yeah.
But obviously, you got Christian McCaffrey, you got Saquon, and then I like the young guys. I like Jameer. I like Brian Atlanta. Bijan. I like Bijan. So it's a lot of guys right now when it comes to running back that I think is pretty good, and it's a couple of guys that I think will take that step in these next couple of years that you would look at and be like, okay, yeah, he's a legit dude.
Do you feel like the movement over the last year has been positive for the running back position with the finances?
Man, I think that a couple of us trying to keep it together. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that they kind of like get to a point where like running backs and really kind of safeties too, and except for the last couple guys that got paid, they trying to devalue the position. And to me, it's kind of crazy because how much that we actually do that go unnoticed. When that's really we block, we run, we catch, we do everything but throw the ball. So for me, it's kind of like that's crazy. We get hit more than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? We gotta take so much throughout the year. I think it's crazy, but then it's also a little bit on us too because we have some guys that they kind of like first and second down backs, and then you got the third down back. It's not a lot of guys that is 1 through 3.
Yeah.
So the guys that's 1 through 3, I think is gonna get paid. Like the Bijans and the Jameers, I think they're gonna get paid. But until you got guys that expand their role and do a little bit more, I think it's gonna be how it is.
In talking to the people on the other side of the table, do you think it's more about this expiration date that they put on backs, which I like, listen, you guys got the hardest job on the field. So it makes sense that, hey, at 30, like I'm not going to last as long as the quarterbacks, right? Like, especially if we're in 4 fucking minute mode. But, somebody like you who's running into loaded boxes for a long time, they might say, oh, well, you're not going to be around at 33. Do you think it's more about the age, or do you think it's more about the way the position is being valued in a vacuum?
I talked to a GM. I ain't gonna say his name, but basically it's just a position. Because you got guys that's anomalies. You got Derrick Henry's 30 plus and still getting paid. You got guys that still playing at a high level at that age. So you can't really say it's the age because each player is different. Like some people can handle more and some people can handle less.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really that. But I do think that they need to judge players based off of, what they produce. However you produce, like whatever that look like, I think that you should get paid off of that. Because I remember before my franchise tag year, sitting down with Mark Davis, and I told him, I'm like, man, I'm not asking you to pay me my worth because you can't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'm realistic with the situation. I'm like, but at least just don't disrespect me. That's all I ask. You feel me? Don't disrespect me. But
was it ever hard? Like, I was on a bad team for 8 years, and I'm not, no disrespect to the organization. We just didn't win. 1-15, 2-14, all that shit. You've had to deal with coaching changes and in your young career gone through the ringer with this thing. And I know what that feels like, saying, am I ever going to feel what it feels like to win? Am I ever going to feel like what the NFL is supposed to feel like? Because this is not, hey, dude, you're about to find out, and you probably already realized it. That wasn't the NFL. Like, we were over doing some bullshit. And so was it hard for you in that 4 or 5 year period or the beginning of your career to say, like, am I ever going to get out? Like, was that stressful?
No, definitely. Like, and that went in part into like me leaving too, like, and I told him, I'm like, man, coming from Alabama, like I went to championship every year I was there. Like, you feel me? Like, every year. Like,
Yeah.
I remember coming to the league and losing my first game, and I was mad, not talking to nobody, and a vet come up to me and like, this the NFL, like, you gonna lose. I'm like, so y'all cool with losing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was so different. You know what I'm saying? For
Yeah.
me, it was so different. So like, that was one thing. Like, and then the most frustrating thing about it all, I feel like, especially when you got like me, you know, Tay and Max, and you got guys that come in every day and work hard, and you don't get the results. And then it gets to the point where like, okay, I'm working hard and I'm doing every little detail, every little step, and I'm still not getting the results. So like, I didn't have the answers.
Yeah.
And that's the part that was the most frustrating. It's like, okay, you do everything that you asked of, but you still don't get the result that you want, and you know, or this or that. And it's like, you be close, but every year you close, but it's not, you know, it's not winning.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me too, man. I'm like, man, y'all want me to come back on a discount and lose? Like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, especially with what you put in. And you know, I talking to guys, everybody loves Antonio. He's a dog. He's one of us. He played, man. Like,
Right.
when you're around the guy, so when he came in, it probably had to be tough being like, hey, I know I'm leaving, but this does look fun. It looks like he's going to turn it around. And are you able to like pull for those guys even though
Yeah.
you're somewhere else?
Yeah. So like with him, man, like, and you got to know, he called me the heart of the team. So like, he was one of them dudes that he believed in me. Like, I can honestly say that from even before he took over the job, he used to talk to me and give me, you know, pointers and stuff. And like, I wanted to, you know, come back and play for him and things like that. But also at the same time, when it came down to it, like, it was out of his hands.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he like, we want you back, but it's like, he can't really do much about it to have me back.
Yeah.
Because he's a first time head coach.
Mhm.
And, you know, Mr. Davis didn't want to put too much on his plate.
Yeah.
So he put people around him to handle all of them things. So it was just like that. But then not only that, man, I never talked to the GM or none of that. So it was like, it just was what it was. At the end of the day, like I told him, I'm like, man, look, I got every Raider record since I've been here, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if y'all don't have enough respect to me to sit me down and have a conversation, then we ain't got nothing to talk about. And it was just that simple, really.
How fun was it to beat up on the Chargers at the end of the season?
It was always fun playing the Chargers, man. I feel like the Chargers, every time I looked at the Chargers, I was like, all right, I'm about to go for a buck something. Like, you know,
they just weren't built like that up front. Like, they had some really good players, but just top to bottom, they weren't built to stop the run.
Yeah, nah. And then like, even when they were like decent on defense, I feel like it was more on the back end and not really the front. So like, it was always fun playing against the Chargers.
Yeah, it would. Herbo, I think Herbert's going to be really good, man. I don't know if you feel that way from playing against him. You know, I just feel like quarterbacks got to have good situations, especially when they're young. And
no, I tell people all the time about him. He's the first dude I ever seen besides Mahomes roll out to the right, flick his wrist barely, and make a 70-yard throw on the opposite end. Like, he do all, like, his ability that he has is so crazy. Yeah. And he's one of them dudes that I literally seen one time Max hit him, and he's still standing up, and he's still getting the ball off.
Yeah.
I'm like, how? Like, but he's a big, he's huge. But like, he's one of them guys that, like, if they get him a line that really block for him, he's gonna be special. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of them guys that he definitely has it. He just not. He got to be in the right system.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Jordan Love, I met him in Vegas. That is a big fucking guy too. Were you with me that night when we ran into Jordan Love? Yeah. I mean, that's a big dude.
He is.
Yeah. So hey, that dude's probably tough to sack. And I just felt like last year, obviously you were in Vegas and our job is to watch everything, but I felt like in the middle of the season, it was like they gave him the keys to the car. They were like, all right, bro, we're going to like take the training wheels off. And he just looked like an elite quarterback. Yeah. It was incredible. I don't know if guys around there talk about what happened last year. Yeah. But what's the sense you get of what changed for them?
What I told him, I told him when I first came out, I said, man, after our game, it was like a game or two after we played them. I was like, I could tell y'all as a team figured it out. Like, you could tell, like, they look like a totally different team. Yeah. And what I think what it was, man, you had a lot of young guys had to play crucial roles on the field. I think it was a lot about confidence. But not only that, you when you get midway through the season, especially when you're on your first, second year, like everything finally starts to click. You start to get in that little mode where I'm not thinking about, okay, I got this play, and if he, audibles to this, I have this. Like you kind of like, all right, I already know everything. So now you're going out there and you putting your spin on, the game. And when you put your spin on it, that's when, a lot of plays come to life. And that's what it looked like happened for them.
All right, so I got to ask you, you're going to open the season against my Eagles down in Brazil, man. What are you most excited about?
They said that the part of Brazil we going to, you can't even wear green at.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Why?
They said, like, I guess something to do with the gangs and stuff. They said,
"Oh, dude, I'm not going. I'm not going."
They said we're not going to Rio. We going to. They told us they was like, man, it's one of them places where they probably won't even let us leave.
A full team.
Oh damn! I'm not going, dude. No,
Eagles and
I was picturing
green. That's why I said,
wait, what color? Yeah, what color? Green.
I was picturing. Man, there's nobody that like.
The gang should be excited.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bunch of green.
No, not excited because they're not green.
They are not green. Yeah, bro.
Oh, they're not green.
Yeah, they're not gonna say like they're not gonna jump you in and be like, "Yo, welcome." They're gonna be upset.
And they probably gonna have like armored vehicles following us. I said, bro, why are we out here? If we doing all of that, why are we here? Like,
I'm picturing Josh Jacobs like hanging out on the beach and shit. I'm thinking of all my friends from the Eagles down there, like just at the bars in Rio. But it doesn't sound like that kind of trip.
Bro, I was looking forward to it. I'm like, man, it's about to be a fun week. And they got telling us all of that. They're like, yeah, nah, it's not gonna be like that. I'm like, yeah, all right.
All right, so cancel that trip. All right, we good.
Glad we got the inside.
Just so I know, what's the color of the other gang?
I have no idea. That's what I asked. That's the same question I asked. I said, bro, so they was like, man, look, just pack just black and white colors because they was like, man, when you come out here, we don't want no mishaps. I'm like,
that's wild, dude. All right. Fuck,
like, bro,
that's funny.
The color of the flag, I'm like, the flag is green. Like, yeah, bro.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be watching on TV.
Right.
All right. Last one here for you. We asked Sauce Gardner about this, and he was like, I didn't even know about this. So maybe you but the off-season schedule that they're proposing, the NFLPA, have you seen this thing?
I know.
I guess Sauce doesn't look at his TV or he doesn't get on the internet, but I was like, man, you might want to check this out. They're talking about starting training camp in June or early July and doing away with voluntary. We've asked different players at different positions. What do you think? How do you think it affects an offense, and how does you think it affects your position and the entire team if you don't have voluntary? And what would you prefer?
Yeah. So I think it could be good and bad. So I think it'd be bad for the young guys, the guys that go into new teams, and also the guys that struggle with having a real routine in the off season. I think that those are going to be the guys that's affected by it most. I think the guys that, go somewhere and train that whole time, like it's not going to really, been in the system for X amount of time, it's not going to really affect them too much. But I think it's unfair for the guys that's, especially rookies and, unsigned free agents, things like that coming in, trying to learn and be able to get acclimated. So I think it's something that they really, to me, can't do away with, but they don't have to make it as long. I feel like they might just need to find a balance.
I think you're one of the teams that guys would love this because then you can go somewhere warm in the off season. You don't have to come back, and then training camp is super chill. The climate up there, we camped in Appleton in like 2009, and it was like I was cold. It was fucking awesome, dude. I was like, this ain't St. Louis. This is, it ain't Tuscaloosa or whatever. By the way, the last thing I'm going to say to you, Josh, we got an Alabama flag over there on the wall right there. You can't see it? Because me and my boys this year, me and two of my other buddies, we're like 40, and we asked our wives, we were like, we just want to go to a football game like in the SEC. We want to go see what it's about. So we just took a trip down to Tuscaloosa to see the Tide and LSU.
That was a good game, huh?
Bro, I fell in love with that place, man.
Yeah.
When you walk out of that tunnel, it's like a movie, dude.
Bruh.
And then they play Dixieland Delight, and I was just like, bro, it was like the place was jumping. We went to Galette's. I was in Galette's back in that back right-hand corner until fucking 3 a.m., dude.
Nah, I tell people all the time, I'm like, bro, when you walk through that tunnel at Bama, first off, the ground is shaking.
Yeah.
The fans is like So the ground, like you walking up, you literally like, damn, this feel like a movie. Like literally, you run out
Yeah.
that tunnel, and it's 100,000 fans, and you just seeing them all like turn. I'm like, yeah, bro, college that was a different experience for sure.
Have you played somewhere tougher than that or louder? Do you think college or pro stadiums like SEC or going to Seattle?
College is definitely louder.
Yeah.
It's just more people though. The
Yeah.
stadiums are bigger.
Yeah, no
You
question.
know, the stadiums in college are bigger. Like LSU, like Death Valley at night, craziest game I've ever played in.
Really?
Or Auburn at night, craziest game I ever like. Them are different. Like
That's my
what I'm
next
saying?
stop, Baton Rouge for a night game. That'll be the next one.
Yeah, go to a night game.
But I'm gonna be wearing my colors, which is crimson, because I'm gonna have my kids down there at fucking Bama. I'm having committing at 12 years old. Go play Kayla DeVore. All right, man. Well, we really enjoyed talking to Josh Jacobs, man. Great player. Enjoy watching you play. Come back again after a big win this year. All right, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We'll do it again, man.
Yeah, dude.